So it's interesting. I've been working this week with several couples and several individuals in coaching. And as I worked with them, I found that the pattern is we keep doing things the same way all the time. And when we do things the same way, we sit back and we do our prayers, we do our affirmations, we start thinking, I want to be different, I want to be different, I want my life to be in a different way. But the fact of the matter is, we're still thinking of things the same way. And so I started to understand that when I would ask questions, well, what would you imagine it to be? And we get stuck. We get stuck with the ability to see things beyond what they are. Because we're so comfortable with the way things are. And we've been taught to be comfortable, we've been taught to be comfortably numb. One of my favorite songs in the world is that song. It's because it really shares with us what's happening to us in society. We become comfortably numb. And I was reflecting back, I remember in it was either 72 or 73, I was working at Chrysler Corporation in Hamtramck, Michigan, and I was a management trainee, and I was working in the disability income area, and at that time I was a real rebel. I was a political rebel. I'm from the late 60s, early 70s, so I was a part of the peace marches. I was about peace, love, and joy. I still am now. I went away and I came back, and I remember the day that Richard Nixon was impeached. And I realized what a grave thing that was in history, how big an event that is, and what he got impeached for. Do you remember what he got impeached for? He erased 18 minutes of a tape of a recording in his office. That was the impeachable offense. But if you listen to what's happening today, we've gone so far beyond that. We've gone so far beyond that, and I'm not talking about any one politician at all. I'm talking about them all. And we've gotten numb that we expect that that's normal, and we blindly accept that. And that's because we have forgotten to imagine. And the other day I posted a video on this person tracked what happened to the valedictorians of all these classes after they went out. And the results of it were fascinating. That the valedictorians, that the highest achievers in high school and college were not the individuals who made a difference. They were not the individuals creating new in the world. They were not the founders of great companies or movements. They were successful, but they were not creators, because in order to be a valedictorian or someone at that level, you had to conform to the rules of the schools, to the rules of society, to fit into a specific mold. And what would we do? We punish by the grades we give, by what we bring down, how we talk about people who are the rebels. But it's the rebels who have caused every great innovation in society today. Do you see where we've got this all wrong? We don't want people to be like each other. We want people to be unique. And in order to be unique, we've got to awaken this idea that we have an imagination. So it was really fascinating. I was at the Chamber of Commerce, I think it was the Plano Chamber on Friday, and they brought up the idea, keep in mind that this is Memorial Day weekend. And remember what we're celebrating. We're honoring those who gave their lives so that we might have what we have here in this country. They gave the ultimate gift. They gave the gift of their lives, or they gave the gift of their health, mental or physical. All of those service people did that for one reason and one reason only: for our freedom. And so let's go into that, because what is freedom? Freedom is the ability for you to express as only you can, not as your mother, father, church, schools, businesses want you to. That's what we guarantee in the United States. The United States is built on the foundation that we have a freedom that's innate to us. And we have the ability to express. We've got freedom of religion, freedom of press. And you see how things are starting to wanting to be taken away? They want to put us in a bigger box, and we're allowing that. And I'm saying stop that. Here's how you stop it. You be you. That's the only thing I'm saying to you. I'm not saying to go out and rebel in any way. I'm simply saying that you take control of your life and you become the greatest you that you can be. So let's explore what is imagination. Imagination, it's the ability to see things beyond the way they appear. Now remember, to see things beyond the way they appear means you can see it in any direction you want, at any level of consciousness you want. So it's not always seeing the good, because do you know where we are really good at imagining? We're really good at imagining when we need to worry. Let me just tell you about that. When we're sitting there, all of a sudden, oh my God, my company just got bought out. Oh my God, do you know how many people that I know that have been through that? I've been through that about 5 times when I was in the corporate world. My son Matthew, who's only 1, he's been through it twice already. Every time you hear the word company got bought out, what happens? The butt puckers. And we create fear beyond anything you can imagine. We go to the doctor, and the doctor calls us back. I want to see you because I've got something to talk about. What happens? Fear comes in, and we start imagining. You can't imagine what? Here's a key thing about that. Remember, when we go in and we have a physical and we get diagnosis by a doctor, remember, they're making a diagnosis based on averages. So they're going to give you a prognosis based on that. And what happens when we get that diagnosis? We imagine the worst. Instead of, remember, on the other side of the coin, there are those that wasn't that bad for, and they thrived and are living beautifully now. You see, imagination goes both ways, but we have been programmed by our unconscious thoughts and beliefs to see it one way, to the negative side, instead of imagining it to be even greater. So I go at this point, and daydreaming is a form of imagination that is without direction. So daydreaming is just being there and just letting whatever comes in, and it goes creative. You see, but daydreaming is just something that really doesn't allow you to expand and become more. But when you imagine, creative imagination is when you direct that imagination toward an idea, toward a concept, and then from that, wow, can we create new? See, that's where the juice is, that when we get an idea that I want to be this or experience this or express this, now we begin to imagine. If we can't imagine it for ourselves, we call in people around us that we trust and say, help me imagine. We have a group that's been meeting for 6 months, I believe, and it's been on visioning for Agape. Visioning for Agape is really about the idea of what is the greatest thing in the imagination that can come out to tell us about what this idea of Agape should be. You see, it's opening up. When we get into the state of visioning is where you go into a meditative state, where you still your mind. You still your mind and you let go. You're guided to let go of all the human thoughts, all the ego thoughts, all the thoughts of what are, what has been, and what will be. And you tap in, and the question is, what is the highest vision for whatever it is you're seeking to express and experience? What is the highest vision? Not what is in the trend of the current vision, but what is the highest vision? It's beyond anything that's been thought. It's the imagination that's up 10,000 feet up. So then when you feel that imagination, you write it down and you're getting the collective energy of everybody. And you get that collective energy, and that energy builds something, and then that energy is shared, and then the group can feel the energy of that imagination that's coming forth, that's divinely guided, because that's where wisdom of beyond is coming from. It's coming from the infinite wisdom that's within us. And when we do that, we've got a new idea. And that's what gives us the juice. That's what makes us there. So many people I'm meeting now that are my age. And I was looking at a friend on Facebook that I went to high school with. Man is brilliant. Went to Harvard. Went to University of Michigan. Absolutely brilliant. And I saw pictures of him. I don't think he imagines anymore. You can tell when people stop imagining. You just look at their lives. More importantly, instead of looking at their lives, what is the energy that is exuding from them? Because if you have imagined something so great in your life, are you not juiced? Do you not want to share it with everyone? Do you not want to talk about it all the time? And is it not proactive? It's not complaining. It's not bitching and moaning. It is really getting in and talking about this is what's going on. It was so cool this week. I called my friend Niranjan. For those of you who don't know, Niranjan and I, we spent 3 weeks in India together with the gurus. And he went back on Friday. He's back there today because Guruji is kicking off his new learning center, and he wanted to be there for that. And then he's flying back. But in the course of our conversation, it was so great to talk about what are we feeling? What's happening in our meditation practice? We've been back almost a month. How are you doing on the sacred mantra that you made a commitment on? And I was so joyful to say to Niranjan, I had really fallen behind the first 4 days of May. Because I was fighting the newness of the mantra, saying something in Sanskrit. I was fighting it. I was fighting memorizing it and that. And I said, but I got it. Guess where I am now? I'm supposed to be averaging 575 a day. That's what I committed to. Today, I've already done 900. Yesterday, I did 1,600. I'm way above what I committed. Do you know what's happening inside of me just because I'm living my word? I'm imagining the outcome of saying this mantra 100,000 times and how the frequency of that mantra will take my body and my mind, it will shift it in a way because of the sounds that the mantra has, and I'm going to be a completely different human being. But yet I'm going to be expressing as Lee. You see, there's a difference between mantras and affirmations. Affirmations are thoughts we put into the mind, which are wonderful. Mantras are the energy that we put into the mind, and that has an impact as well. Both serve a purpose. I'm doing both. I'm one of those overachievers that my number one goal or purpose in life is spiritual self-actualization. So I'm going to do everything I can for that. But when I shared with Niranjan, he goes, you know, Lee, I'm doing the mantra and we're going along. And then I go back and I do the other Srividya meditation that we do. And he says, 2 hours later, I opened my eyes and I said, have I done it? Where am I? And I just laughed because I'm in the same place. It's not like you've fallen asleep, but you're in a completely different world. Your mind has transcended this human world. And you come back and you're rejuvenated in ways that are unbelievable. And all of a sudden, ideas start coming. New ideas. And that's what's happening. If you haven't noticed on YouTube or on iTunes, I put out 2 meditations already, 2 guided meditations. One is the Bala meditation, and one is the Create a Greater You meditation. Both are guided. Highly recommend you do it. I was asked to create a new meditation. I didn't know what to do, but it came to me, I'm going to create one on self-worth. So Charles and I are going to be meeting this week. We're going to record that one. And then I've already got in my mind already going on abundance, on relationships, and on health. So we're putting out as many spiritual tools for you that'll get you moving in the direction of what you want and give you ideas that you can imagine from. Because I think sometimes imagination needs to be like kick-started. You know, it needs to have a little bit of a boost. So why not listen to something that helps you imagine beyond what your self-image is? And this is what I found is that when you're listening to a guided meditation, it's taking you beyond your current image. And at first, when you're hearing those words, that I'm connected, whole, perfect, just as I am, well, I wonder who they're talking about. Couldn't be me, because we don't tend to put ourselves up. We tend to put ourselves down. So I want to go on with the imagination, and I want to talk about the purpose. Because imagination always begins the creative process. Without imagination, nothing new gets created. You see, you cannot have a new life until you imagine a new life. And it's not even imagining the new life, it's about imagining who are you in that new life? What do you speak like? What do you think about? Who are you hanging around with? Because if you're having a new life, new ideas, are you hanging around the same people? Chances are no. You're going to be around different people. Because different people have different energies. And so it's really good. That scares a lot of people. I'm going to have to hang around different people. Do you know what happens in the world when you hang around new people? You get new ideas. You make new friends. You expand your awareness in the world. Making new friends is a great and wonderful thing. So don't be afraid if people leave your life and you replace them with others. It's always about change. It's always about movement, and that's what we must embrace. In order to imagine, we've got to embrace this new idea and this new change. After imagination, that's when our will comes in. And our will directs the creative process. Our will is when we make a decision that this is what I've imagined me to be. Now I'm going to make a decision. I am making a decision that this is what I'm committing to. Once I make that decision based on the imagination I've got, now my thoughts, words, actions, and feelings will be in alignment with what I want. And then I'll be imagining, what would I be thinking about? What will I be speaking about? What will I be acting upon? What would it be like to feel? And then I just keep that and I build this energy vortex that's constantly moving and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then what happens is our imagination has set the direction, our will holds the vision in place until the creative power within us transmutes the vision into our actual experience. You see, the will is the process of in between the prayer being answered. Imagination is the prayer being put out. Will is the process in between. And then all of a sudden, when we've embodied it, when the belief is really anchored in, then the demonstration in physical form comes forth. But when the demonstration in physical form comes forth, it's secondhand. It's like it's not news because you've been living it already. Does that make sense? And when you're living it, you don't really care if there's a Mercedes out there because you feel good in your Honda. Because you realize it's not the car that makes you feel good, it's what you think about the car that makes you feel good. It's not the type of person that you're partnered with, but it's how you're able to be with the person you're partnered with. See, for me, it's about I want to be with people who accept me in all aspects of my being. I'm a deeply spiritual person. I'm highly intellectual. I'm creative. I'm obnoxious. I'm earthy. I have opinions. But I want people that accept all of me, not just part of me. All of me. And you see, that's what love is. When you accept someone, all of them, that's love. Here's what imagination gives us. It gives us freedom. If you really sit down and you start to think about what did these magnificent soldiers fight for? They fought for your ability to be free, which means your ability to create your version of the American dream, not someone else's version that they've given you. It's your ability to be free of the past that is no longer serving you. It's your ability to be free of the opinions of others that are surround you. It's your ability to be free of the mental construct that you have unconsciously created within your own mind that is holding you back. And now you've got the freedom to say, I no longer embrace that anymore. I now embrace the fact that I'm free to be me, and I'm going to release that no matter what. And I'm not concerned with what anyone else thinks because I'm a whole and perfect expression of God. Because when I guarantee you, when you're on your deathbed, you are not going to be caring about what other people thought of you. You're going to be doing a self-reflection in your mind about who were you in the world while you were on this planet, and did you bring your greatness to the world? Did you bring all that you wanted to be? Did you play 100%? Did you make many, 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 many mistakes? Because here's the thing, we've got to make mistakes to grow. We've got to make mistakes to learn. Making mistakes is fun. If you're in a mud run, you know these mud runs, if you make a mistake in a mud run, you're falling in the mud. That's fun. It's not that you're getting dirty. It's fun. You go out on a date with someone and you have a crazy, crazy experience and you go, you know, that was a crazy experience. That was fun. I got to experience that. Who would have guessed? You get to watch your partner, if you've been in a relationship for a while, you get to watch your partner. Isn't it interesting how they do what they do? And they don't get it that they're doing it. But you don't judge them for it. You accept that's where they are and that's okay. In fact, it's not just okay, it's perfect. Because imagination does not judge. You see, if there's judgment with imagination, there's no longer imagination. If there's judgment with love, there's no longer love. If there's judgment with acceptance, there's no longer acceptance. You see how judgment separates us from everything that we truly want to experience in our lives? So this is a day that I'm going to invite you to stop judging. This is a day where I'm going to ask you to step outside of your comfort zone and to think beyond. This is a day where I'm going to ask you to pray, to so pray for the next 6 months that despite the medical conditions of the world and what they say, that Reverend Lee Wolak will grow hair in this bald spot back here. I want you to truly pray for that. Let's prove this. And I want you to know that if I have that happen because of your imagination and prayers, I will do so much blessing of you. You see, but did you notice I made that a joke? But at the same time, I don't know that I believe it's possible. I don't know that I've stepped into the imagination that the possibility exists. And if I don't believe in the possibility existing, I can't possibly do that. This is the same thing that happens when people receive a medical diagnosis. They'll receive a medical diagnosis of cancer. And the doctor will say, this is my prognosis. You've got to go beyond what the doctor says. You've got to find people that will believe what you believe, and that is that you can heal, and you can heal fast, and you can heal quick, and there doesn't have to be the side effects that the doctors are talking about. And when you can surround yourself with people like that, and then you do your will, you do the work, and you use your imagination of what that healthy body temple looks like, what it feels like, how it can respond, how it can act, and when you're doing that, then the healing will transfer, and the law of averages that everyone else may be subject to is no longer what you're subject to, because you've imagined a life different than the law of averages could ever have dreamed, and you are the exception because you have taken the ability of conscious creation upon yourself, and you said, there's no way I will ever play small in my life ever again. That, my friends, is freedom. And we can do that in any area of our lives. So I ask you today, what is that one thing right now that you're seeking to experience differently? Whatever it is, begin to imagine it being now. Having it in your place, what would it feel like? get the feeling of it more than anything. You may not be able to see exactly what it is, but if I had that, what would I begin to feel like? And let that feeling just come into your body. Who might be the best people to support me, and how would that be with them as we support and come together in this feeling? What would I be doing if I felt this way? Who would I be hanging with? I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wolak. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.